50 most chilling and interesting historical photos. The train wreck at Montparnasse Station in Paris, France, on or near the 22nd of October, 1895. The testing of a bulletproof vest while onlookers watch on in interest in Washington, D.C. on the 13th of September, 1923. The 3,000 men who helped build the Chase Manhattan Bank in New York City pose for a photo near the end of the constructional work, August 19, 1964. Child labor strike in Philadelphia, 1902. Chicago, August 4, 1948. This photo, originally published in the Vedette Messenger of Valparaiso, Indiana, tells a tragically heartbreaking yet all too familiar story about Chalafou family and the trials and tribulations surrounding poverty. Well, that's what the original caption wanted the reader to think. Facing eviction from their apartment, the jobless couple decided to sell their 4 children ranging in age from 2 to 6. A farmer paints stripes on her cow to increase its visibility at night and prevent car accidents should it wander onto the road during blackout conditions. Aircraft tester George Aird barely escapes death by launching sideways from his plane, 1962. Aird fell through a nursery on his way down, breaking both legs. One of the most evocative photos. A group of kids had arranged to care and feed the dog after the owner had died, England, 1936. A photo of makeshift hospital in the Vietnam War, 1970. Unpacking the Statue of Liberty, New York City, 1885. The colossal assemblage of 350 neoclassical pieces, gifted by the people of France, took workers 4 months to put together. Jesse Owens breaking the world record 200-meter race at the 1936 Olympic Games of Berlin. Ostrich reads the newspaper of the caretaker. Teenagers of the 50th years of the last century feel the difference. The RMS Titanic passenger liner in Southampton, England, just before it left for its maiden voyage to New York City on April 10, 1912. The Titanic sank after striking an iceberg in the early hours on the 15th of April, in which an estimated 1,500 died of the 2,200 passengers and crew on board. A streetcar conductor in Seattle not allowing passengers aboard without a mask during the Spanish flu pandemic, 1918. Wilbur Wright, one of the brothers made famous for the invention of the aeroplane, caused another sensation with this flight around the Statue of Liberty in 1909. He had been asked to get involved in special exhibition flights that were being put on in order to celebrate 300 years of New York City. The flight took place on 29 September 1909 and lasted no more than 5 minutes, but caused quite a stir with onlookers and the press. The picture shows a photographer taking a picture of New York City streets, 1925. 19-year-old Shigeki Tanaka was a survivor of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima, and he then went on to win the 1951 Boston Marathon. The crowd was silent. Vintage photo of beach volleyball, Venice Beach, California, June 1934. The people of Philadelphia, United States, looking at a new map of Europe following the changes as a result of World War I, 1918. This map was also displayed in Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Washington, D.C. Legendary boxer Jack Dempsey left, mock-punching illusionist and stuntman Harry Houdini, while legendary boxer Benny Leonard holds on to Houdini. The photograph was taken at a publicity event in circa 1920s. During the Second World War, the retired British ocean liner, the RMS Queen Mary, was used to ferry soldiers from the States to the United Kingdom to fight for the war effort. Here, the massive ship is seen on June 20th, 1945, bringing thousands of U.S. troops home. The decks are certainly crowded. This image from NASA shows the first rocket to be launched from Cape Canaveral in the 1950s. The rocket would reach new record heights for the time and higher than the current orbit of the International Space Station. Bumper 2 would be the first of many rockets to launch from this spot, and this is a brilliant photo to signify its importance. Suffragette leader Emmeline Pankhurst being carried away from Buckingham Palace in London, England, after being arrested while trying to present a petition to King George V of the United Kingdom, 21st May 1914. One of the most famous photos in history, lunch atop a skyscraper, was taken on the 20th of September 1932 and shows workers enjoying lunch while sitting on a steel beam in Manhattan, New York City during the construction of the Rockefeller Center. The history of the Statue of Liberty is certainly an interesting one. You've no doubt seen plenty of photos of Lady Liberty over the years, but have you ever seen those taken during her construction? Before it was fully built, parts of the statue were constructed in France before shipping to New York. In 1878, the head was shown off at the World's Fair in Paris. Several years later, in 1885, crates containing the main parts of the statue were shipped via French steamer into New York, and construction began in earnest. The rest is history. Italian troops raise a gun, a dog, and a soldier on a mountain. Italian Alps, World War I, 1915. The return of a German soldier from Soviet captivity. He was taken to the war when his son was 1 year old. Germany, 1956. A photo shows social distancing from 1953. A child with measles sits and eats alone during a coronation party in Chelsea, England. Alexandre Gustave Eiffel left explores the completed tower with a friend, 1889. View of the St. Lawrence River from Quebec City in the 1800s. Patients being treated in an army hospital during the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. In 1941, Slovenian Albina Mali Hočevar joined the People's Liberation Movement at the age of 16. She was wounded twice as a resistance fighter at the age of 17. For the remainder of the war, she worked as a nurse. Native Americans photographed by Roland Reed between 1907 and 1913. Manhattan, New York, circa 1917. A photo shows horse car and a modern tram side by side. German World War II prisoners of war, harvesting grapes for the Widmer Winery in Naples, New York. Every state housed prisoners, but most camps were built in warm weather climes to save on barracks heating costs. Life in the Texas Dust Bowl, 1935. A dust storm gets ready to engulf everything in its path. Smokey Buchanan from the West Palm Beach Police Force, measuring the bathing suit of Betty Fringle on Palm Beach to ensure that it conforms with regulations introduced by the beach censors. 1925. This photo from sometime in the early 1900s shows the Niagara Falls waterfall frozen over. Quite a spectacular sight, but something that actually happens quite regularly, it seems, though not many get to see it in this full glory. In 1886, this couple posed for a photo outside the White House in Washington, D.C. on this two-seater bicycle. The tandem design has come a short distance since then, as have the gear people wear when out and about on their bikes. A heartwarmingly lovely photo of a young woman writing to her sailor. David Attenborough entertains Prince Charles and Princess Anne with a cockatoo, 1958. Rail commuters wearing white protective masks, one with the additional message, "Wear a mask or go to jail," during the 1918 influenza pandemic in California. A photograph on the USS Bunker Hill aircraft carrier after it was hit by 2 kamikazes within 30 seconds on the 11th of May, 1945 of Kyushu, Japan. 372 died and 264 were wounded. Neil Armstrong, photographed by Buzz Aldrin shortly after completing the first-ever moonwalk on July 20, 1969. The completed head of the Statue of Liberty on display at the 3rd Paris World Fair, Exposition Universelle, in Paris, France in 1878. A group of Japanese samurai photographed in front of the Sphinx in Giza, Egypt during a visit to the country, 1864. Geologist Thomas Griffith Taylor and meteorologist Charles Wright photographed on the 5th January 1911 at the entrance of a grotto in the side of an iceberg with the Terra Nova ship in the background. This was a part of the British Antarctic expedition led by Captain Robert Falcon Scott, which lasted from 1910 to 1913. Citizens of Antwerp, Belgium, coming out on the streets a few hours after the announcement of the armistice to celebrate the end of the First World War. This historical photograph was taken on November 11, 1918. The construction of the famous World Trade Center building began in 1966 and wasn't finished until 1973. In the meantime, this brilliant view of the towers was captured with sunlight shining through the middle. It's an awesome tribute to a place where many lost their lives tragically in 2001.